Welcome to North Idaho Experience. In today's episode, Dave and I sit down with Andrew and Victor from Footsteps of the Fallen. It's a nonprofit. These two young, articulate, intelligent men are out there trying to make the world a better place by educating the public on politics and history. They really have a very good vision of trying to bring back to the community. This was a cool conversation. We covered a variety of topics, including politics, history, AI, of course, and quite a few other things that you guys will find interesting, I'm sure. So stay tuned, enjoy the show, and remember, if you guys could do us a favor and leave us a review on the audio platforms, that would be fantastic to help spread our message here at North Idaho Experience. Also, if you guys are thinking about making the move to North Idaho, shoot our real estate team a call, text, or email. We specialize in helping conservative families find their freedom right here in North Idaho. Yeah, but you don't know who they are, do you?
I don't.
Okay, so Andrew and Victor, and they have it's a nonprofit, right?
Yeah, it's a nonprofit.
Footsteps of the Fallen. What is that, you ask? I'm actually not entirely sure.
I'm not either.
Super interested.
Let's work it out.
Can I see the hat?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
So we have a black and a white one. That's going to be our kind of black and gray and silver logo. Now these were the first hats I ordered to ever kind of get an idea of what it would look like. And on the back it says Revelation 2:13. We kind of changed that as of late. Revelation 2:13 was more of a Jesus thanking the church and whatnot. So I like that one, but then I wanted to do one that was more political kind of acting. So we did Mark 3:25, which I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but it's along the lines of, if a house be divided, then a house will fall. And I think that goes very well with politics and the organization and also just everyday activity. So I think it's a good one to kind of go back and forth with,
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to join me on this one.
Here's the thing. I'm already impressed, and here's why. I think that our younger generation, you guys, right? I mean, yeah, you're only a little over a decade behind me, right? You're 15 years younger than me. You're almost 20 years younger than me. And even with my generation, I think there's been a huge falling off of faith in the church, and also more than anything, the understanding and respect for the men and women that serve in uniform, right? Mm-hmm. That has been a huge discrepancy as college has become the thing, and this liberal reform and all that stuff. A lot of young men and women don't recognize what it means to have Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and even what 4th of July is, right? It's not about fireworks. So to see two young guys starting something that I can already see, I mean, when you start seeing Bible verses and things like that, I get super intrigued. So I'm super impressed and want to hear more about this. Where'd this come from?
So I originally started it. Victor joined me on this journey, and I'm very thankful, because having two minds is way better than one.
Oh, buddy, you got to have a partner. No,
100%. And the great thing about this organization is, so the fundamentals of it is, we're really trying to educate people on the history of America, on the Bible, on kind of everything political. So I'm a political science major in college right now, and I think it's great because my political science teacher, I don't know his politics. I think it's great, and he educates me really well. But I think so he doesn't even bring in his politics into the classroom, and he can still effectively teach. Yeah,
amazing.
I know, right? It's a crazy concept, but it's awesome, because like when we ask him questions, anything political, he'll be like, political science hat on, and then answer it. And it's great to see that, but not a lot of people are going to go to school for political science. Not a lot of people are going to go to school to learn the Bible. Even our American values, our Constitution, Articles of Confederation.
God, you're way ahead of me, bro. I majored in astronomy and minored in underwater basket weaving.
I'm digging this.
Look where I'm at now.
I'm digging this right now.
You are way ahead of me.
So before you keep going, why do you think that is? Why is it that people are resistant? Because I see a lack of conversation, right? I see a lack of conversation among a younger generation. We're on the wake of Charlie Kirk, just months past that, right? And you see a lack of communication and willingness to learn something and put a hat on like that. Why is that?
Well, there's a couple parts of it. So when I was like 16 and I was just getting into politics, this was kind of in the wake of the George Floyd incident, everything like that. And I was on social media watching everything. And when you see these cities burning, you automatically get this hatred for the other side. So I had this hatred up until like 2 years ago. And then I was like, you know what, let me stop and kind of learn what they're fighting for. And when you can take a moment to learn what somebody else is fighting for, you can kind of understand it. I think it's people don't want to understand it. We have such a hatred for each other.
Well, hate is a powerful motivator. It's such a powerful emotion. I mean, it's probably equally as powerful as love, just on the opposite. So I think people want to be angry. And a lot of times people feel like they're doing something by being angry, but it's accomplishing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, and like, listen, people can fight for whatever cause they want, and I think it's great. That's what America is for, you know? But when you fight for a cause and you're not willing to listen to the other side of the cause,
Right.
I mean, there's going to be a divide there, and it's going to be ridiculous. So, like, kind of to talk about the organization a bit, just like on that topic, we're conservative, as you can tell. We're constitutional. We love the Constitution and everything. But we really want to bring people together instead of dividing them, you know? So when we teach people about the Constitution and everything like that, we try to remain bipartisan. You know, we don't go on there with the Second Amendment and say, well, this is why, you know? But I want people to come here and learn, you know? And I think that people should want to learn, and I'm trying to put that drive into people.
This is such a good cause, man. We talk about this all the time of like, yeah, you want to get entrenched in your beliefs and you want to hate the other side. I think it's in us. It's a tribal thing from, thousands of years ago. But a lot of people have lost sight that you can disagree on these topics and still sit down and have a beer and find things that you have in common, and that's totally fine. It's good to disagree. You don't need to be angry at the other side, right? That in that disagreement, somewhere in that middle ground is where we find, the common path forward, because everybody, I think most people want the same thing. They just have different ideas on how to get there, right?
Well, yeah, and Victor was talking to me about something great on the way here. We were talking about, like abortion, gay marriage, all of this stuff. And he kind of said something that I really liked. He was like, we need to put these things aside because we're never going to agree.
Yeah, I mean, if we only concentrate on the things we disagree about, that only builds animosity.
Yeah.
And nothing really gets done, right? I mean, what have you guys seen? You guys are a little older than us.
A lot.
Last 20 years, we're seeing a flip-flopping of Republicans having control, Democrats having control, and they keep the people divided on issues. We have a lot of single-issue voters. Abortion is a big one, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, of course it's important. I care about that issue. Most Americans care about it. But there's bigger fish to fry, so to say, right? I mean, we've got Americans right now, we're having an economic crisis. People, you guys are real estate agents. Maybe you guys can enlighten us about, are young people buying homes right now?
They're about to.
Good question.
They're about to. Have you heard of the 50-year mortgage?
Yeah, we heard about it.
Well, yeah, I actually made a video about that recently because, I want to hear what you think about the 50-year mortgage before I go into it.
Here's what I'll tell you. The 50-year mortgage is not the end. The 70-year mortgage is not the end. The 100-year mortgage is not the end, right? A 100-year mortgage, do you own a home or are you renting it?
You're renting.
Okay, so understand that we have created an economic disaster in the U.S. that has forced us into a position. Now, when I look at it in terms of owning homes, right, we have wealth. And why do we have wealth? Because we are able to, at the age that we were at, when we were able to buy into a house at a young age, we were able to do it. We had the funds, the economics supported it, the inflation supported it. We were able to do that. When you continually move the economic, needle, right? Mm-hmm. You get to a point where you can get people to invest more in other things like the government than investing in yourselves. The 50-year mortgage takes somebody like you that is 20 years old, that probably off of your current income, it would be very hard to buy yourself a $500,000 home as a starter home. And then we say, how do we make it affordable for you? How do we do it for you? Well, here's an option now. This fits your budget. And you're excited because now you get to participate in home ownership, right? The American dream. You now have bought into something that you own. And the truth is that the further we move that needle, the less you actually ever own. Mm-hmm. Look at a 30-year mortgage. How do you know that's lived in a house for 30 years? Name 5.
I couldn't tell you.
You
not
can't
even my
do
parents.
It. And how many people do you think you're going to be able to name when the 50-year mortgage is out that has been in a house for 50 years?
No, 100%.
You can't. So we've taken a swing, right? We used to have it affordable to where you buy a house and you'd live in it for 60 years. Your kids would live in it, right? And then we've moved it. We've made newer, shinier things, and we made them more costly and more expensive. And then we've created, well, how the heck am I going to afford that? That house is $100,000. Well, we have this 10-year mortgage, right? Well, now it's $250,000, $300,000. How do I afford? Well, we have a 20-year mortgage. Mm-hmm. Now you guys are sitting at the 50-year mortgage. It is simply a way to continue to move the needle, to continue to take your money and put it in the investment hands of the government. That's it.
No, it's true.
Because who's winning here, right? I mean, the longer the term, the more interest.
Oh, buddy, when you look at that amortization sheet, which will now be twice as many pages, which they're already enormous.
Right.
No, that would be disturbing. That's like when you go to buy a home and you get your final documents.
Yeah.
You'll see that when you go to sign, and you just don't want to look at that because you start to see, oh my gosh, I'm paying like twice as much as the house for in interest.
It is over twice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I saw that for a $400,000 home, you're paying a little bit, I think $413,000 in interest on a 30-year.
Yeah.
Does that sound accurate?
Probably, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I looked at it, and with a 50-year, there's an 86% increase on top of that.
Holy
so
crap.
you're paying almost triple.
Right.
Where's that money going? 2/3 of it is going to the banks, not to the people. The wealth continues to get more centralized at the top.
100%. So why is it important that a 50-year mortgage comes out to continue to move this needle? Is because of this. How do I take the little money that you have and the little money that you have and get it invested in us? Well, I get you to rent a house for 50 years, but in order to do so, you have to bring your down payment, all the money that you have, and put it in there. If you went and just rented a house, you would be able to keep that money. You'd be able to keep that expendable income, and you'd be able to reinvest that somewhere else. Tell me when you're going to make a return on your 50-year investment.
Well, never. I mean, never. Unless you start renting it out. But even then, I mean, it's going to be really hard to. And I was even saying to Victor, it's almost a slap in the face to Gen Z. Of course, like millennials will probably use the 50-year mortgage. I'm not saying they won't, but it's going to be even weirder for them to do it. Because, like, let's say you're 35 buying a home. You're going to pay it off by the time you're 85.
Life expectancy is what, 79?
It's
It's
what's
a slap in the face.
How long does the average person stay in a home anyway? 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years.
So I don't know how that plays into it. Is that good or bad as far as having a 50-year? Like, it makes it affordable for a short time. Are you building equity in that home where you sell it in 5 years? Now you can step up a little bit. Does it help you that way?
You may build equity, but I think if you invested that same amount of money in the stock market, that you would make more money.
No, 100%.
Well, you would, and that's another problem that I see with the housing market is that people are using homes as an investment vehicle.
Yeah.
And you guys probably understand that's why that is the case. But should it be the case? That's a question no one's really asking.
Right.
It's not a productive asset. The house degrades over time. It costs money to keep it, upkeep. And we're playing with something that is, I don't want to say maybe a human right, housing, shelter.
Sure.
Is that really something that we want to turn into a financial asset?
For you, I don't know. For me, now this is where they got me by the balls, right? That's where all my wealth is. I have invested from a young age. And so if I lost that changes my lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to continue to invest in that in that real estate market. And most people over the age of 35, that is where their wealth is in their home. Your wealth is not in your home. So you have to be careful diving into an investment that, like you said, maybe it doesn't have that return. I don't know if it's the best investment for you. And that's coming from a salesman. I don't know if you should buy a home.
No, it's true. And then, like, to add on to like the investing side of things, us young people have to be very careful too. Because I mean, what are we on? We're on Instagram, TikTok, we're on all these apps, and we see these. Oh, invest into this right now. It's cryptocurrency or this stock. It's going to do great. And then what does it do? It plummets. I mean, you lose your money. I mean, we're so impressionable too. When we hear 50-year mortgage, we're like, oh, sweet, I'll be able to own a home.
Yeah, look how cheap it is.
No, you won't. You won't. And it seriously is a slap in the face to Gen Z because they package it like we're stupid. They're like, you get to own a home. No, you really don't.
And you just popped into my head. I mean, 50 years, if you actually owned it for 50 years, you're putting 2 roofs on that house.
70 years old.
You're going to re-side it.
Yeah, I would be.
You're going to remodel it like 5 times because your wife's going to make you do that. I mean, you're dumping enormous amounts of money into that you may never get back out.
No.
So,
and your property taxes when you live in Washington will be $40,000 a year by that time.
Yeah, and so when you finish paying off the house, like you said, you're renting it for 50 years, then you continue to rent it at a smaller amount from the government for the rest of the time, where they take it.
Neato.
Right.
you know what? But before you even get to that point, the aliens will show up, and then who knows?
We'll join the Galactic Federation.
That's how the world's going to come together. Yeah. The aliens are going to come down. We're going to be like, you're not so bad after all.
I honestly think that might be the only thing that can unite everyone at this point.
Independence Day?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah.
You guys seen that movie?
But you know what?
Yeah.
You'll still have people out
We're not
there
that young. No.
Yeah, that'll be like, these aliens, they're not that. They have rights.
Well, and then the left will be okay with the term alien, They'll be like,
That's
okay,
true.
all right, we're okay with saying
now
alien
it's
now.
okay. All right, so continue with this. So Footsteps for the Fallen. Talk to me about where the name comes from, why the Bible verses, these things.
Okay, so the name comes from I have been a big fan of politics. Like I said, I've always loved it. I loved people like Charlie Kirk, Rush Limbaugh, and many other conservatives. Rush Limbaugh, we lost him a couple years ago. Really sad. I really liked listening to him. And he was really good about bringing people together. I know a lot of the people on the left hated him, but he was very smart and he was really good. They even had him on Family Guy. They had him on Family Guy.
Classic.
I mean, Seth MacFarlane had him on Family Guy. How great is that? And then in the wake of the Charlie Kirk assassination, before that I was thinking I wanted to make a nonprofit. I wanted to help my community. I wanted to teach people. And the worst part is I could not come up with a name. I was like, what do I name this? What do I name this?
Yeah.
After the Charlie Kirk assassination, it was really sad. The day it happened, I was with my girlfriend and we were like talking it over, and it was like the craziest thing I've ever seen. Modern political.
You're like, no one should have seen that.
No
right?
one.
No, and it was all over social media.
Yeah.
I found out, I was in class when it happened. I found out within 5 minutes because my friend showed me a raw video of it, and I was like, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. It was terrible. It was sad. Nobody should have ever seen that. But so the day after, I'm at home. I'm watching one of his debates. I'm working on the nonprofit. Still don't have a name for it, but just working on it, figuring it out. And I was like, like it sucks that he fell.
Yeah.
He fell. And then I don't really know how I came up with the name. It just kind of came to me. I was like, Footsteps of the Fallen, because I want to follow in his footsteps. I want to follow in many other conservative footsteps. So then it came to me. And then
I love it.
we got the folded flag, as patriotism, sacrifice. We have the two, nice American flag line, or four, I should say. And then the footsteps for the organization.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I completely stole your hat, so.
No. I was going to gift it to you anyways. I was going to
good on
gift
you,
it.
Dave. Dave will rock it too. What do you love so much about teaching people about the Constitution, for example?
I really don't know what it is. So I've been in sales my whole life. And I noticed the biggest part about sales that I loved was the teaching aspect of it.
You're like a young Dave. I just see
Yes,
this.
a young Dave.
Yeah.
I have a couple tattoos. I'm gonna get a couple more. So I'll be Dave one day. But so I always love the teaching of it. When you learn it and you're in the thick of it, it's really fun. You get that sale, you get excited. But it's so much more amazing when you have somebody that you taught go out and make a sale.
Right.
And plus I love role playing. I love just teaching. So that's kind of where I got the teaching side.
Seth loves to role play too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now. Okay, David.
Sorry.
With the little red wine, some slow music, nice bubble bath, But and then as far as politics, like I said, I've always been a little political. But as I got older, I was like, where do I align politically? Is it I always assumed it was Republican. And then I started reading the Constitution, the Articles of Confederation, the Federalist Papers, and I'm like, huh. I'm mainly constitutional, which
Hasn't every American read those?
No,
you-
believe it or
you
not.
wish.
What?
Believe
What?
it or not. If they did, we wouldn't be a thing.
Get outta here.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay.
It's the
They
crazy-
don't teach that in school, huh?
No, well, and I've also watched. You two are ex-law enforcement.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of police officers. I'm a big advocate for police. Love police, but I've seen videos of police officers pull people over, and they're like, "Oh, you need to stop that," and they're like, "It's my right," and then the cop's like, "No, it's not." I'm like,
That's an education problem.
yeah, and I'm like,
A training thing.
How do you not know? And that's kind of, we were talking about this beforehand, actually, like, the whole defund the police thing, kind of a sidebar. Why don't we fund them more? If we want better police officers, we want them to be more educated.
How dare you bring logic into this argument, sir?
I know, right? I mean, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Anytime I talk about something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we lived through that phase in our previous fields, 100%. And don't get me wrong, when people put a cell phone in my face and I'm on a traffic stop, I want to slap it out of your hand, 100%.
Yeah.
But it's your right, and I'll let you do that. And I'm probably recording you as well. So
See, and that's
let's have a
respectable.
civil conversation.
And that's like the most respectful thing ever. And that's what I love about America is, do I like that you're doing that? No. But it's your God-given right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough because it is your God-given right, but they aren't doing it because it's their right.
No.
Right? They don't feel threatened. They don't feel those things. They want to cause conflict. That's what it's about. Yeah. It's about the resist, right? I need to resist. The problem they don't realize is that these men and women are husbands and wives and everything else going home to their families as well. And they have a job to do. And you know what? You wouldn't hesitate to dial 911 when you have a critical incident and you need somebody to come help you. So you have to understand when people say, like, I've been harassed by the cops just because it's late at night. Well, you know what happens typically late at night? People drink too much. They drive their vehicles. So when you run a stop sign, you run a stoplight, it's our job to stop you and say, hey, are you good? I don't give a shit if your mom headed on the way home and you look down at your cell phone and you miss a stop sign. Okay. I'd be like, dang it. You need to pay a little better attention, but I want to make sure you're not going to kill somebody on the road.
Yeah.
Because that's not something you or anybody else can come back from. And it makes it really hard. So when people hold up the cell phone, they're looking for conflict. That's it.
Well, exactly.
90% of the time, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah. And to add on to your points more, I mean, like, ever since I turned 18, I've always driven around with a loaded gun, and when a cop pulls me over, I'm never like, oh my gosh.
Good old Idaho.
Oh my God. Yeah, I love Idaho. And I'm never like, oh my gosh. I always let them know, even though I don't have to. I'm like, hey, I have a loaded gun.
Perfect.
If you give respect, you get respect back. Now,
Exactly.
that's not to say there's going to be a couple bad apples. There always will be in everything, except for politics. In politics, we have nothing but good apples.
Do me a favor. Say, I have a firearm. Okay, don't say gun.
Seriously. No. Here's what you do. You say, I have a gun, and you reach into the center console in a rapid motion and pull it out to show them.
What I do is I say I have a gun, and then when I hand them my license, just really quickly.
You know what's funny though? Even I'll tell you, it's a psychological thing to hear gun it makes you nervous when you hear the word gun.
It goes to training, right?
When you say, hey, I have a firearm in my center console. Oh, okay. You know that you're dealing with somebody that has firearms training when you hear that. I'll tell you what, as a cop, somebody said, I have a gun. It's like, okay, hold on here. But you say, hey, I got a firearm on my hip. Oh, right on. That's your right. Good for you. Thanks for carrying that.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do
thank
that,
you for saying that.
And their response should be, cool, you don't touch yours, I won't touch mine. And then that's it. That's what I used
Well,
to say.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I just also want to say I love Idaho cops. I've lived in 5 different states. I haven't met more friendly and understanding law enforcement than here.
Yeah, they're great.
Been pulled over 7 times in the last 2 years, and every time I know.
Wow.
I drive late at night. I stay up. I can't help it.
Yeah, we're night owls. It kind of comes with the territory, late night beverage.
Yep.
But not one of those times have I had a negative experience. And there was a few times where I probably should have even gotten a ticket, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So
I'll
just
tell you.
shout out to Idaho cops.
Have you ever been asked if they can search your vehicle?
I have multiple
I have
times.
not.
Did you let them?
No.
Okay, you want to see a cool experience? Seriously, if you got nothing to hide, I'm being serious. Don't give up your own rights. Understand that they have to have probable cause or consent. But I'll tell you, the first time I get pulled over by a cop, doesn't know me, he goes, "Can I search your vehicle?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." I'm going to step out because you know what? There's something about. We talk about what cops can and can't do. And I'm not telling people somebody's going to be like, don't let them. No, it's your choice. It's consent. I'm not telling you to, and I'm not telling you should. I'm just saying it's an experience. To have a cop come and say, can I search your vehicle? Yeah, go ahead. Search it. I'd love to see. Go for it, man. I'll come over here. You can even stand me over here. You can search me. I'm all about it. And the reason being is because I'm so big into training. I'm so big into those opportunities to let people do something live. The cop doesn't know you. Right? That you may think it's stupid, but it's actually a good opportunity for them to learn, to be able to go through stuff and go, okay, well, there's nothing here. Yeah, not everybody's bad, man.
I agree. I think it's great. Don't give up your Fourth Amendment right.
Don't. I'm not advocating.
Don't.
But my thing with that
I agree.
is
Training's great.
Just that, not that I have anything to hide.
Yeah.
Not that I have something in my vehicle I shouldn't.
Yeah.
But I don't see how there's anything but a potential negative outcome.
Certainly. I totally get what you're
Right?
saying.
You get what I mean?
I'll tell you, I get pulled over, I'm going to be like, yeah, go ahead, search it. I'm in.
Next time I buy a new car off the lot and I get pulled over, I'll let them do it.
It's all fun and games, so you forgot you had
You're
something
like,
in your car,
Are you Coeur d'Alene PD? Do you know Dave Fowler? He said that I should let you search my vehicle.
Yeah, right.
Ding, ding, ding.
Is that correct? Should I let you?
I'm going to name drop you now next time I get pulled over.
Yeah.
No, boy, that goes over well.
Good luck.
Depends on which one it is.
Oh, no. Were you a liked cop or not?
Victor, we're going to get a ticket.
I was fine. I don't know. You'll find out.
Predominantly.
You'll find out if you start getting tickets or not. So, Footsteps of the Fallen. Talk to me about the Bible verses.
Yeah, so like I said, Revelation 2:13, I was looking up ones that I think would be good for, because like I said, I want to bring people together, but I also want to let people know, we're conservative in our roots, we're Christian in our roots. Like, you're not going to come here and have us talking about stuff that we don't think is right. So Revelation 2:13 was a good one because it's Jesus talking to the church, and thanking them. And I also am a big fan of Revelation. I love Revelation. I don't know why. I might be a psychopath, but I love it.
Reading Revelation makes you feel like a psychopath. It is.
Well, yeah, you're reading and you're like, this poor guy. I mean, the stuff that he had to see, you're like, wow, you're taken aback, But then I was like on the topic of unity. I was reading Mark a couple weeks ago, and I got to verse 325, and I was like, wow, that's a good one.
That's
a
cool.
Really good one.
I think 235 is better.
Yeah.
for hours.
Yeah. Mark 3:25. It's just such a good verse, and it speaks volumes. Like I said, on personal life, work life, it speaks volumes on everything. If a house is divided,
Yeah.
the house will fall.
Accurate.
And you talked about, I think one of you were talking about how they have us going back and forth between Republican and Democrat every 4 years, right? That is not a united country.
No.
That's not a normal thing, right? You don't come home one day and say, I like you, I don't like you, I like you, I don't like you. Like, that's not somebody that's committed to something. Right.
Right.
The same thing with any relationship. I mean, you look at marriages. We're not going to stay together. We are going to stay together. Okay. At some point, this doesn't make sense anymore. Same thing for the U.S.
Yeah.
We have to figure out what side we're on and what we're doing, because that constant strain that you guys are talking about is why we have debt. It's why we have conflict. It's why we have this, this disassociative, inability to be united. I mean, Lincoln said it, right? A house divided will not fall. Well, I'm sure you were poli-sci major. Did you go to college?
So I actually didn't go to college.
That's okay. You're probably
Yeah.
smarter than half the U.S. So
Probably. That's why I didn't go, right? I don't think it's a place for smart
But
people.
I was a history
love
major,
it.
and I loved it when
No
people would
offense,
say
Andrew.
like, "Oh, Lincoln, he stopped slavery," and I'm like, well, hold on. Lincoln was not an abolitionist. There was pro-slavery, anti-slavery, and abolitionist. He was an anti-slavery. But when you look at the bumper sticker that was used for that, it was to keep the Union moving in the direction it was supposed to for wealth, economic development, everything else. And he knew that picking cotton was not the way that we were going to develop. We were right in the middle of the Industrial Revolution, right? We were doing some amazing things. And he knew that moving forward, we needed to see the progress go a certain way. So and if you read the Emancipation Proclamation, right, he did not free the slaves. He said on this day, he gave a date, right? God, I can't remember the date. But anyways, he said on this date, we will declare you what am I trying to say? To summarize it, we will declare your slaves free, okay? And we will go to war with you. However, he offered to the southern states, if you come back to the Union, you can keep your slave state, but we will not expand any more slave states. Mm-hmm. And if you don't come back to the Union, we will declare all of your slaves free and we will declare war on you. He was okay with having it in the United States, but he knew that we weren't supposed to go a certain direction because his goal was to keep the Union together. He knew that if he lost the South, he knew that if we were separated, that we would not be a united nation and that we would fall, that we wouldn't have the resources and what we needed to continue to grow. So when people say, oh man, he was anti-slavery or sorry, he was an abolitionist, he wasn't. He just wanted to keep the Union together. And that's where we're at right now. How do we keep this Union together when we need young guys like you to understand our background, our history, where we came from, and what our values are?
Mm-hmm. What are you pushing back against? Because I am under the impression that it is not the left necessarily, but you have the left and the right, and then some type of elite overlord class that wants us divided.
Well, it's interesting because it's funny that you say that, because I was going to say something along the lines of the conspiracy side of me says that this is just going to happen no matter what. But the other side of me thinks that we just all need to find out what America was built on. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing, is we're going to show everything. We're going to talk about capitalism, socialism, communism, everything. When you come and watch our videos, I'm not trying to indoctrinate you and say capitalism is the best, you should do it because of this. I want you to form your own opinion. Mm-hmm. When you watch our videos, you learn about what America was built on. You learn about different systems. Form your opinion.
Well, and the best ideas win in the end. Mm-hmm. That's why this country was so great, because when we started the country, our documents, our form of government, it was the best idea the world had. And very quickly, we became such a big superpower because of that.
Yeah.
So falling in line with that, give people the facts. The best ideas will win. That is our opinion.
Do you guys think capitalism has a limitation?
Like a term limit, like there's a late stage capitalism. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, I mean, we are a capitalistic state, right? And there's a lot of people that have benefited a lot more than a lot of others. I mean, is there an expiration to standard capitalism like we started?
Like a very small minority accumulates everything?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, is there a point where you get so uneven that capitalism isn't working anymore?
There could 100% be. I mean, BlackRock buys up so much property. They own, 10 to 20% of all real estate in United States of America. Like, that's ridiculous. And then that's kind of when, regulation should come in. I think everybody should own the property they want, but when a corporation that is one of the biggest is buying up all these properties, like you kind of have to draw the line in the sand and say, okay.
Well, BlackRock doesn't own it. One of their 1,000 LLCs owns it.
Oh yeah, that is true actually.
Well, and they don't
I did
want us
forget
to-
about that.
And that's a different entity, right?
Right.
That is true.
So we've created a system, and here's the problem: is that I think people aren't smart enough, myself included. I throw myself in the not smart basket because there's people that understand. Why is the tax code so big? Why is it not just 10% goes back to the government? Why is it not that? Because when I looked at it and they run the numbers, it looks like we would have a lot more money if we just did 10% from everybody, but we don't do that. So I put myself in the not smart basket because I have a feeling that through capitalism, people were able to create code. Tax code, legal code that they understood and that the average American couldn't take advantage of and doesn't understand. That's why BlackRock can have 1,000 LLCs and own all these properties, but BlackRock itself only owns 5%.
No, I agree. And I will say one thing. I mean, we're still educating ourselves too. Thomas Sowell, big person that we're reading when it comes to economics, because we really want to learn and teach people right. I don't want to just say some gibberish and hope that it's right. But I will say this on the topic of capitalism. From what I've learned, I truly think if it's capitalism, socialism, or communism, capitalism all the way.
Yeah.
There will be a point. There will be, and it's one of those things you kind of have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But with what
I
we've been
don't disagree.
seeing, but with what we've been seeing, I mean, there is going to be a point, and when that point comes, what's our government going to do? What are the people going to do?
There's no perfect system. I mean, we've
No.
seen communism, socialism fail horribly. So I think it's the best we've got.
No, it is, and
moment.
it's been working for centuries.
Well,
I mean, it's been great so far. It's been good. It's been good.
As it's up and downs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as is everything, right?
Right.
It definitely was working exceptionally well for a long time in this country. What you said about maybe late stage capitalism, maybe that's what's happening. But I do want to ask you guys, do you guys think we live in a capitalist country?
Good question. I would like to believe that we do, because I'm trying to live my American dream right now. Right, we're entrepreneurs. We own our own business. We're doing well. It feels like it to me. So I would say yes.
I will say yes too, just to be clean on it. But I do think there's a lot of caveats that, we own a business, but how much of it do we actually own? Like, there's a lot of restrictions on what we can and can't do. When you look back at the 1800s, the restrictions on what you could do with a business were so much less.
Oh my God.
So I do think there is a capitalistic heart, but I'm not sure it's operating the way that it was meant to.
I think that, no, you go ahead, Andrew.
Well, I'll let you go in a second. I was going to say, though, to kind of what you're saying, there's also a lot of mafia in like these big industries, like the food industry, mafia industry. I mean, it's insane. You really can't get your head in there if you want to. And then I think I watched a video the other day where if you own a farm and you're selling food, you can't even like give it to your neighbor or anything like that. Like, there's a lot of regulation on it.
They waste food.
Yeah, they waste food, and it's kind of like what you're talking about with like real estate. There's so many regulations on it, and then every state's different. Every state is different, which blows my mind. It's like we don't have one system to kind of run under. We have to have 50 different. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, Victor, I feel like you're about to educate us.
yeah, go.
I want to hear it.
Well, my position on it is that we were a capitalist country for a very long time. But right now what we have is more a blend of capitalism and socialism. We have capitalism for the poor, socialism for the rich. If a big bank is insolvent, they get bailed out by who? By me and you, the American public.
Right.
If I'm insolvent, I'm just screwed. I guess there's social programs, there's unemployment or X, Y, and Z social programs, but
Who pays for those?
yeah, again, other taxpayers, right?
Okay.
So we, as a country, when the big banks need it, it's social. They privatize all the gains, but they socialize all the losses,
That
right? And
Wow.
And that is a problem. That's why I don't really believe we live in a capitalist country at the moment. I think it's a blend.
Damn, that's a good way to think about it.
That is a good way to think about it, and I think you hit it on the head right there. And it's so challenging because you're fighting so much fraud and abuse. You talked about big food, big pharma, all of them. and all of these rules that are out there that are difficult for common people to navigate. But when you've got a team of lawyers, you can utilize all the different loopholes in there. And now you've set yourself ahead that a normal person would not be able to participate in that.
Well, and they make it so damn complicated. I mean, like
Yes.
the 2008 housing market crash, for example, nobody saw it coming because it was so damn
I didn't.
complicated. Yeah.
Bought a damn house in 2006.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Did you short the banks too?
Same.
Huh?
Did you short the banks?
No,
Like,
dude,
who was
I
that guy?
Paid everything off, man. We just kept it. It is what it is.
You guys seen that movie? I think it's
The
called
Big Short, yeah,
I
that-
guess
Oh, nice.
that was a good movie actually. Well, and
Yeah.
I actually watched that a couple days ago. So I knew a little bit about the 2008 housing market crash before, but then I watched that movie and I looked into it more, and it is true. Like, it was so damn complicated that nobody saw it coming. And then also they had this idea that, it's worked for this many years, like, can't fail. Never failed before.
Right.
Nobody expects the failure. And I even heard something about like investing, where if you're going to invest into something that's never failed because it's bound to fail, or something like that. Bet against it,
Yeah.
The second that I buy a Bitcoin, I promise it's going to fail. The second I buy one.
That's how
I've been
I
holding off, and I'm like, you mother. And I'm going to be like, somebody's going to convince me I'll buy an eighth of one. And it's going to go, woo! I'm like, there it is.
I remember my buddy bought one when they were $5,000, and I was like a new cop, and that was like an incomprehensible amount of money at the time. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "You're so dumb! You're so dumb!" And now it's like over $100,000, right?
But see, honestly, that's a problem too for the younger generation, in my opinion, because here's the thing. Okay, I went to work every day for 17 years in public safety. And there were sacrifices, right? This isn't a Crimea River thing. There's other people who have done a ton of other jobs, right? My brother-in-law worked at Stater Brothers in Southern California for 30 years, right? Went to work every day, put fruit on the shelves, just participated in the community, right? And you work for what you get. Like, there's something that comes back from it. People that invest and they make millions of dollars, I don't know if they can tangibly understand hard work, real investment, anything else. When you just put something into a slot machine and it makes a return,
Yeah.
where do you grow as a person?
Nowhere.
And I think that is a route for a lot of us, is if we've created like, I hear kids all the time like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I'm going to invest in Bitcoin. I'm like, well, what are you going to get from that? How can you go back? And I think this is something that we've lost. And this is honestly where my heart is. How are you helping society? How are you helping somebody around there? I can joke about it and say we're real estate agents, but honest to God, like, we're helping. We want to build a community up here. We want to do something for people and help them grow.
The
right?
problem, Dave, is that we came up in a time when it was like you work hard, you live the American dream, right?
Right.
Now it's, hey, you get rich quick. You're going to be a YouTuber. You're going to, like all the things we hear our kids say, right? Or crypto or whatever. That's the dream they're being sold. Like, that's actually a reality. It's so incredibly rare to pull that off.
But they see 10, 20, 30 people do it, and it's
Yeah.
like, it's everywhere.
Well, it's a
Anybody
lack
can
of
do it.
drive. It's a lack of drive. I mean, when you see like 100 YouTubers who have 1 million subscribers, you're like, oh, I could do that. And then you start doing it, and let's say you put out 10 videos, and you get maybe 1,000 views on all of them, or all together. You're gonna be like, wow, well, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
We were there.
You have that drive in the. I mean, it's true. A lot of young people have that drive in the beginning where they're like, I'm gonna make it big. I'm gonna do this and that and really, really kill it.
Yeah.
And then they start getting into it and they're like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
to prove Dave's point here, not everybody can be a content creator. Society would fall apart.
Right.
Correct.
Right? We need people to actually work to be productive members of society. I think people are latching on to these investments, and honestly, a lot of gambling. Gambling has become very huge in the last 5 years in this country because they're so disenfranchised with the legitimate employment options they have. They work really hard. Older generations say, the kids, they don't want to work, but we work the same amount of hours and we make proportionately a lot less than the previous generations did when they were our age. We have a lot less purchasing power, a lot less disposable income. A lot of people are checking out, and that's not a good thing.
No.
It's very, very true. I'm so impressed. There's a barber, and I think he may have just retired. Maybe he's on 4th Street. Okay, he's like 4th and Spruce or something.
Is it
Oh.
Mystique's?
I don't think so. I
Is
don't
it
know.
Jerry's?
Maybe. I'm not sure the name. I don't have hair, guys. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm just
yeah, I
saying
forgot.
I'm
You
so
weren't wearing a
impressed.
hat. I didn't know
I
that.
haven't been there. And I'm just saying I don't have hair,
Like
but
the hairs versus the balds
I'm
over here.
so impressed because there
Is
was
it the guy
something up
next to
there.
the omelet place?
I think so.
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
has
yeah,
a sign
yeah.
that says like, in business 50 years or
Yeah.
something like that. I'm like, there might be somebody that's like, oh man, that sucks. You had to be a barber for 50 years. And there's part of me that goes like, there's a lot of there's an amazing story in somebody that says, hey, I've been here for 50 years and I've just participated in my community this way. This is how I made my living. People know me. I've showed up and I've found a benefit in you coming in and making you look good, right? And that type of stuff is just so rare now. But you're talking about footsteps of the fallen. When you do that, I immediately think of people who went through world wars. Mm-hmm. And you guys, I don't know, have you ever met anybody that was on D-Day?
I haven't.
I don't think I have actually, no.
So here's the thing. When I was a medic, and this is 20 years ago, right? When I was a medic, one of my favorite things to do, this happened to me a dozen times. I would be transporting a really old vet. And I would have one-on-one time in the back of my ambulance, 20, 30 minutes to the hospital. And I would find myself brought into conversation with men that literally ran up on the beaches on D-Day, right? Mm-hmm. One guy lost his leg. I remember asking, I said, sir, if you don't mind, how'd you lose your leg? And he goes, I got it blown off in the Pacific. He goes, I lost it on February 23rd, 1945. And I go, that was the day Iwo Jima, the flag was raised. And he goes, yeah. And I go, sir, and I'm like, thank you. And here's why. Do you know what else happened that day? My dad was born on that exact day, the day they raised the flag. That's why I've always remembered that, right? When Iwo Jima happened, I was like, because you were out there and you made this sacrifice and everything else, my dad was able to be born safely back at home. My family was able to be started. I'm here because of people like you. And so when you talk about footsteps of the fallen, you think of those people that, like, you guys will never get that contact. Those stories, dude, to be able to sit in the back of an ambulance and hear somebody be like, man, I lost all my friends, I lost this. And you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It changes the fabric of your reality to look across at somebody and be like, I'm here because of you. Mm-hmm. Legitimately.
Now that you say it, I do remember I did meet a World War II vet when I was maybe in 3rd or 4th grade. We had one come into school and tell us his story. And I don't remember anything else from that school year, but I do remember that.
That's crazy.
It's powerful to hear something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was especially during a time where you wanted to enlist. You were 16, 17 years old. You'd lie about your age and enlist. And why was that? Because you loved America. Nowadays, if we had a big major war that, we had a draft for, nobody would want to go into it because we've I always say this. I love America. I always will. I love it for what it is now. But I especially love it for what it was, what it was fought for in 1776 and what it was ratified for in, I think it was 1791 was when the Bill of Rights came out, I'm pretty sure. I love it for that, So I always hear a lot of people, and this is kind of a sidebar, I always hear people say, well, why would you try to fight for America for what it is now? And we're not fighting for what it is right now. We're fighting for what it was, what we want it to be. You don't want to die for the country for what it is right now. We can all be mad at the government and everything. But for what it was and for all the people that died previously, it'd be doing them a disservice to say, you know what, you're right. Let's just stop everything and not actually try to fight for the country that many bled for.
And that goes into the name too.
Those
are the fallen.
We love our veterans. Yeah. We truly do.
Yeah. When I think about it, and if I were to, when I think about fighting for the country, it's fighting for the people in it, like your dad and like you, and not the government, right? I think we can all agree there's a lot of problems in the government, but if you look at the people, and that's what our whole business is based on the community of people, and I think North Idaho's a shining example of the perfect community. Yeah. But yeah, I think about the government, I'm like, it's not for them.
I'll tell you guys. And if there's anybody out there and you know anybody that's a World War II vet, I will tell you right now, just doing the basic math, means 16 years old. Mm-hmm. Okay, and you add that to it. That means that if you got in at 16 years old, you'd be joining in 1942. Okay? Those people are 98 years old right now.
There's very few left.
So the fact that if you ever get the chance in the next 2 or 3 years, max, to meet somebody that has actually stormed the beaches of Omaha and has the recollection and even the mental capacity to have a conversation with you and is willing to, that is disappearing so fast that it will not be here in 2 or 3 years.
No, we need to keep it around. I mean, the videos of World War II veterans talking about their time and what they did, we need to keep them around.
Yeah.
I'm saying post them every month. You know, we should remember these people.
It's amazing.
I recently saw a video from the UK. On the news, they had a vet. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he was pushing 100, right? Very elderly man. And he said something that really broke my heart. He was saying, you know, the country that I fought for proudly. But when I look at my country today, it doesn't really feel like we won. We won on paper.
Shit.
But I mean, you guys, what do you guys think about this? That's Britain, which was our ally, but us. Does this feel like a country that won that war?
No, I mean, Britain is a great example, man, of how far. I mean, they are. I don't know if that society's lost, but it's close to it, I would say.
You walk downtown.
It's pretty Orwellian.
You walk downtown there, you don't even know it's England.
Right. Yeah. And I've heard recently, like 12,000 people have been jailed up to date for social media posts over there. Like,
yeah, well, and there was people I saw. I've seen videos of like Christian people, you know, and it could go for other religions too, but it's mainly Christians who go out there and they're speaking, they're talking about the gospel, not harming anybody, nothing, and they get told to stop.
Yeah.
Not by passerbys, but by police. I mean, what?
Because the world hates me, they will hate you too.
Well, yeah, and that's, you know,
that's wonderful.
Ironically enough, you know, whenever I have my doubts about Christianity, because every Christian does, you know, every Christian's going to be like, is it real? You know, I have it every other day probably. I always think like, what religion gets hated the most? You know, what religion and it's the Christians.
And what religion gets criticized the most?
Yeah. Well, and you know, there's just I haven't read the Bible through and through. I'm still learning my stuff, you know. But so far, I haven't found anything that's inherently wrong or terrible.
It's not teaching you to hate other people or kill other people.
Not at all.
Well, it teaches you to love. You know, it teaches you to love your neighbor, and like that's a big reason I kind of got out of that. You know, oh, I'm pissed off at the left. I hate the left. Because it teaches you to love your neighbor.
Right.
And that's what we need to do.
Dude, you want to swallow your pride, read the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, I recently had something with a buddy and Bible verses were used. And I'm like, look, if you want to tell me that I'm not doing a good job, I already know that. I wake up every morning, I read the Bible. I'm like, oh, dang, tripped up again. Oh, shoot. Like, I didn't do that. Like, all I got to do is get into that 2 words in. And I'm like, dang it, man, I'm falling short. Like, I mean, it is a book of love, and people read it and you're like, man, there's nothing in here that makes me say that I should hate you, that I shouldn't love you. In fact, we're looking at starting another podcast, my buddy Rhett and I, called a What If podcast. And basically the whole premise of it is to turn around and say, hey, here's the deal. What if you did this instead of this for the day? It's like a 10-minute, like almost like a devotional podcast, right? Like 2 or 3 times a week.
I like that.
And so we're going to do this thing called a What If. And here's my example. And it's going to be a ton of just normal everyday things, right? But here's my example. You know, jump on the podcast. We'll talk about like, all right, you're driving to, because this happened to me the other day. You're driving to work in the morning. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. I get cut off by this dude, freaking cuts me off, goes driving like an idiot. My immediate reaction was like, I'm ready to go tailgate him, right? And I caught myself because I was thinking about the podcast. I go, okay, Dave, what if this isn't for him, this is for me, right? I can only be responsible for my own response, not somebody else's. So what if instead of me getting mad right now at this guy, what if I prayed for him because I don't know what he's going through? What if I sat back and I'm like, Lord, I pray for this guy. I want to see him get where he's going safe. I don't know what's going on in his life. I pray that he doesn't get in an accident. And I hope that whatever is going on in his life, Lord, you'd reach him, you'd touch him. You know, that's why I did that. All of a sudden my day changed. Mm-hmm. I'm like, dang, man, like I'm on a different level right now. Like I could have hated this guy. And now all of a sudden I'm like, damn, man, I hope you get where you're going safe. Changed everything, right? So that's the whole premise of the what if thing is like, you turn around and say like, well, what if instead of doing this, if I focus my attention on something biblical, on Christ, on something like that, right? The same thing for our country. What if we don't externalize and worry about everything else going on in the world? And what if we turn around and say, what about us? Mm-hmm. What about these people?
Put God in everything you do.
Dude.
Everything you do. And I even said that to him, and I'm a big checks and balances type person. I even said to him, I was like, when this gets bigger, we can never let our greed consume us. We always have to pray, always make sure we're doing it for the right intentions and things like that. And it's so easy to be quick to like switch views, And I do the same thing when I drive. Like if I ever get cut off, part of me just wants to be like this.
Turn down your worship music, cuss them out, and turn it back up.
But then I, kind of like what you're saying, you have to sit back and say, you know what? God gave me another day on this earth. let me enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because we can let things ruin our day so quickly.
Yeah.
But it's true. Nothing has power if you don't let it.
And that's a perfect way to look at it, because you said that. Like, that person may not even be aware of what he did. So if you let that ruin your day, like, you're the only one carrying that burden. That guy doesn't. He doesn't even know, or maybe doesn't. You know what I mean? It's like, So that's the perfect way to deal with it, because why carry that kind of hatred in your heart all day?
No.
And for the record, my first reaction is always to reach for the lights that I don't have in my car anymore. So I'm like, I'm gonna light this full. No, I'm gonna turn the.
Oh, you had actual switches? That's badass. I had push buttons.
So that's old. We had a push button. Yeah.
The switches sound cooler. But
They do.
It gives a little more. You know,
but he's a lot
emphasis
older
on
than
it.
me, so his cars are way older.
I was gonna say one more thing on the topic of like, what if? I always think it's funny too, because I even say to like atheists or agnostic people who don't really believe in God, I always say, well, if you get mad, like traffic, if you get mad at someone in traffic and you honk, you don't know what people are capable of.
Oh yeah.
People are scary.
And you could be poking something you don't want to poke.
And I'm telling you, like, I'm very competent with a firearm, but I still like, if somebody catches you at the wrong time, you're done.
But do you really want to shoot somebody either?
No.
I would love it if you could honk at somebody and they're like, all right, we're going to get out. All right, we're going to fight. And the first person to go down, you're going to pick them up and be like, all right, you win. Have a good day. That would be awesome.
Don't they do that in Texas, right?
If you could, yeah, right, dude. Texas is out of control right
Okay, well, Texas is out of control, but I'm pretty sure they have something where you can do that,
Wouldn't
right?
it be a
You
beautiful
can't-
world
oh
if
my
you could
God,
just fight and be like,
you
okay,
can't
you won?
trust that anymore. It's a
No.
shame. We lived in that era and it was good. I was a bouncer in college and
should have
like
fought more then.
Yeah, it was good. Like, you could do that before. People wouldn't bring guns, but now it's too risky.
Well, exactly. And I mean, that's honestly something that I do. Like, I've even said
fight?
so many times, no.
Fight people on the street.
Oh, heck no. Well, no, I don't. But I was going to say, it's funny because, like, even if I wanted to, I wouldn't, because it's terrifying. I mean, you get into a street fight with somebody, even if I'm fighting clean, who's to say they're not going to grab something
I've
off the
always
floor and hit
said
me over the
It
head?
might be life or death for him, right? You never know. Yeah.
Whoever's got the longest, whoever's fighting for the most is
Right.
going to win.
That's why I say just walk away. Even if somebody's
always better
cussing
to
me
walk
out and
away.
calls me like the worst names in
Yeah.
the book, I'm not going to be like, oh, let me show this guy. No, I'm going to just be like, that's your opinion.
Yeah. I have a
that
question
way.
for you guys since you're both younger. AI. How do you think AI is going to change the direction of this country? That's a big topic, and that's a huge question. I understand that.
That's a good question because I've thought about it. I have, and I don't think it's going to change anything too crazy. I mean, we're not going to have like robots walking around and serving people. I think that if we use it as a tool, it's a good thing. I mean, full disclosure, we use AI sometimes. Especially when we write a script and we're like, this is so jumbled. Like, can you summarize it for us?
Yeah.
Make it easier. It's great. AI is a great tool. We should use it. But people are very scared that it's going to take their job. I don't think it is. We're still going to need a lawyer to proofread these legal documents. You think differently?
And first of all, I think you're talking about AI in a rather condescending term, and I think you should be a little more careful because it's listening. And there'll come a day when you're gonna be like, you're gonna be called to judgment on that. So be careful. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
but I think personally, I think jobs like that are on the chopping block for sure. Because
Jobs like what?
What can interpret legal language better than a freaking robot? Like,
I
you know
agree,
what
but
mean?
are you going to have, in my opinion, are you going to have like your laptop at the courtroom, kind of like, and the judge says, well, how do you plead for this? And then you just give me 1 second, you type it into AI. Like, I just don't foresee that.
Well,
And
there's-
maybe, go ahead.
No, I don't want to cut you off. You go.
I was going to say maybe we just have a lawyer who just reads the AI documents or something. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to be going to law school after my political science
nice.
degree.
Good job.
Yeah. I don't know. I love law. It's interesting. It's so interesting,
That's
especially
cool.
in history. I know
Do
you're
what
a history
interests you,
buff.
man. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I just don't foresee it. I mean, it's going to be one of the.
there will be that you will have an excellent career. I shouldn't say that AI will take your future job.
I know. Maybe I should switch majors. What did you do? Let me.
Underwater basket weaving was
We
my
should,
minor.
that
and I
one will.
majored in
That one
astronomy.
will never be taken by AI.
No, dude, you can't teach a robot to.
But yeah,
weave a
I
basket.
just think that AI's it is sometimes scary, but you also have to remember we're humans. We can control it.
Yeah.
We can put regulations on it. Go ahead.
I was going to say it wouldn't be like what you're saying where somebody just has their laptop with ChatGPT. I think there's already been cases where people are using AI as their lawyer, and it's like, generated. What do you call it? Like a talking head, right? Mm-hmm. With a face.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, it may be more competent than people. So I don't know, Andrew. You may be.
Well, it is.
It removes the emotion too, right?
Yeah, no, it is.
I think a lot of people are going to side with what you're saying, right? No, we need a human to do this. Remember I told you that the last World War II veterans are about to die? Mm-hmm. Okay, that was a generation that would have supported this. They would have supported the Constitution. They would have supported law enforcement. They would have supported very much the values that you guys are talking about, the Bible. It's a waiting game. Okay, it's a waiting game. AI is the same way. AI does not have an ending. So if you're going to talk about AI, you just need to wait out people like you. You just need to wait out the people that are going to say, oh, we can control it. Oh, let's keep human interaction. They just have to wait out that majority. Just like there was a Russian spy or somebody that defected to the U.S., and he explained Russia's, during the Cold War, their desire to take down the U.S., and he said it's a long game. He's like, you slowly put things in people's minds, and then you wait for that change to take effect. And a lot of time it is that people that grew up seeing this, people that have actually died for this country and seen people die, they are dying. Mm-hmm. And we are seeing less and less of it. And our emotional tie to that is going away. And as long as we slowly wait that out, this world will be a different place in 200 years, because there will not be people that have seen Charlie Kirk get shot. And there's going to be people that have not seen a lawyer stand up there.
It is true.
Well, and
it is true.
The more interesting thing about AI that I think will come sooner is going to be things like that. I mean, deep fakes are going to get indistinguishable from reality.
God.
Yeah.
What happens when you can't even trust what you see on the news?
You can't now.
No, you can't.
Well, but now you can't. You're right, because they edited it and they take it out of context. But what happens when they can completely fabricate events?
Right.
Or what happens when they can have a customized AI video on the news or on your feed that's for you, and it looks different for him?
How do we know that's not happening already?
Well, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it's already starting.
Yeah.
That's the
AI
more
videos.
germane thing that I think is happening with AI right now.
AI videos are so bad that when do you guys remember that helicopter crash that happened it was California?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
When I saw that video on Instagram, I went to the comments. I thought it was a real video, but I went to the comments, and almost every comment was, "Is this AI?" ? I mean, that's how bad AI has gotten, that people are questioning it.
Can't tell.
My friends knew the nurse on
That's
that
real
thing, man.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
That was a tough one, yeah. My friends actually knew the nurse on that one. They came from that area.
Really? Did everybody survive? Right? I'm pretty sure.
I haven't followed up on that, actually. I need to
I
check.
thought one of the nurses died.
Logan and Catherine knew the nurse, and I don't know what ended up happening. I'd have to look into that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a terrifying new world. I don't. It's kind of exciting too. There's a lot of good and bad that come with it, but I don't know where it's going to go. And I think it's going to progress so fast. I mean, it's going to progress way faster than the internet revolution, which you guys weren't really a part of.
No.
But when I
Dial up.
when I grew up, yeah, I didn't have. I mean, I got a computer when I was like,
Bro, there was
11th
a
grade.
yellow pages. Like, you go in there and be like, all right, Home Depot.
What's the yellow pages?
http://www.homedepot.com. Like, I mean, there was literally yellow pages to tell you where to go for stuff.
Weird.
It was crazy.
I think
It
I was
crazy.
born I think when I was born, I think the iPhone 4 just became a thing.
Oh my
Really?
gosh.
Well, 2004.
Oh
The
my God,
iPhone
when you
4?
were born? That is
No,
insane.
Wait, no, actually, I don't think I think I was born like 2 years before the iPhone 4.
Have
Well,
you
you're
guys
making me feel old now.
have you guys ever had a
remember
Nokia and played Snake?
I had a BlackBerry.
My mom
I had a
did.
BlackBerry.
That's legit.
I'm a little classic. I had a BlackBerry at
BlackBerry?
one point. Yes, I did.
Man, those were awesome.
It definitely humbled me. I'm like, wow, this is great.
That was the classic businessman phone.
Yeah, we're actually investing
BlackBerry.
into a BlackBerry. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be a cool business phone, though, to pull out of the suit jacket.
I
a little blast
wonder.
in the
I
past.
think there'll be a pushback from people that want to go back to that traditional life. They'll shut it all
They
down.
will.
You can't influence me if I'm not seeing it, right? I mean, we see that. We get tons of people that want to move up to North Idaho and they, want a homestead or kind of have that throwback lifestyle. Like, it's still there. It will probably get smaller and smaller and smaller as it's progressed. In 50 years, barely anybody will remember. Farming will be robots and drones and all of that crap. And I don't know. That's maybe. I don't know if that's a bleak outlook, or I think it could be good too. It could go either way.
I don't think it's not a cynical outlook. It's realistic. I mean, if you can see where we've already gone, I mean, we're definitely going in that direction. I don't think we're going Terminator direction yet. I don't think
Yet.
AI is gonna. Yeah.
That'd actually be pretty legit.
It'd be kind of cool. Fight alongside Sarah Connor and whatnot. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think AI is truly kind of like what you were saying, is one of those things we have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll really get the full grasp of it. And maybe everything we're saying now is like completely right, or maybe it's wrong.
But can we wait? Like, do we have the time to wait and see? If we wait too long, if we don't have some kind of regulation for it, is it going to impact society faster than we can regulate it at some point?
The problem is we can regulate it all day long in the U.S., but I can guarantee China's not going to regulate it.
Yeah, and then what if they get set ahead of us?
Yeah,
you know,
that's the challenge.
I mean,
I had an interesting philosophical question pop into my head this morning, and I was thinking about, the birth of an artificial intelligence. So humans created potentially a life form. Like, how does that play into religion, right?
it would never have a spirit.
Would it?
No.
How do you know?
It's
Because not
material.
biblical,
It's
man.
of the world, right? The Christian idea is that our bodies are of the world, but that our souls are.
So here's what I'll tell you, AI. Okay, when you bring that up, Satan is cunning, right? Like his job. No, seriously,
Yeah,
his
no.
job is to create doubt and pull you away from Christ. That is it. That's the job. Right? I talk to people about some faiths that claim to be Christian, and I'm like, look, if I gave you 98% of a Bible, nobody out there is fighting the story of Moses parting the sea. You tell me a war that's being fought over Moses parting the sea, nobody cares, right? Nobody's even fighting the birth over, or a war over the birth of a virgin birth. People are fighting the war over Jesus. So if you can discredit him in some way by saying, well, look, this has a soul. There's aliens coming. This is something that's not. If you can find a way to discredit that, you pull people away from their faith. And that's why when those questions are posed to me, I go, you know what? One, I'm not even going to give it time. I'm not even going to give it time to think about it, because when we're going back to a faith thing, my faith is in one spot, and that's where I'm going to leave it. And nowadays with the deep fakes and everything else, what am I meant to believe? I'm meant to believe. Faith is believing without seeing, right? You're going to show me aliens, you're going to show me all this other stuff, but I'm not going to see Christ face to face, yet I'm still going to believe in him. And I'm like, that to me is faith. So when I hear stuff like that, I'm not getting mad at it. I'm just saying, like, I am unshakable with those things.
That's good. No, it's just a question that popped into my head. I'm like, how do we resolve that moral
You said it
or
best.
philosophical
You said it best,
dilemma?
Dave. I mean, that was
What
a
do
great
you-
way to say it.
What do you think, Seth?
I don't know what to think other than I just like to have these conversations because it helps shape my mind. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, God created man creates something else. I don't know at what point. I mean, is that wrong?
There's times my daughter hasn't had a soul and I created her.
But what if it gets to a point where it
She's
is
an angel,
it is
by the
thinking
way.
and it believes it has a soul? Are you there to tell it doesn't?
Well, I would argue that I don't think AI is really thinking.
Maybe not at the moment, but will
no,
it hit a
it's
point?
It's computing.
I don't even know if what we have is that we're calling AI is. I don't think that's necessarily an appropriate term for it, because it's not thinking. It's not creating novel ideas. It has a massive amount of data that it scrapes from the internet, and it will hodgepodge together something for you, either text or images. But it's not creating anything, right?
I don't know that to be true at this point, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can tell me that, and other people have told me that, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, it's
it-
like the chess engines, right? Was it 50 years ago? Chess computers were not that good. I may be wrong about the time frame or whatever. But very quickly, they overtook the best players in the world, and right now they are better than the best players.
Yeah.
But does the chess engine know it's playing chess? Of course not. It's an algorithm,
Right.
right?
I mean, our brains are not much different than a computer, right?
It makes
and I know
sense.
there's the soul argument. I get that.
Sure.
But what if this being comes to light? It has a physical body that manifests itself in,
Sure.
computers and other crap like that. And what if it comes to us at some point and says, I have a soul?
I think about it a lot like your human brain, too. Your human brain really computes things, right? I really think that when you think of connection with God and everything else, it is through a spirit. I think my brain is just like AI. It just computes. I've been told somewhere by somebody that your dreams, have you ever had dreams and you're like, dude, I had this crazy dream.
Every
and you're
night.
like, I made this up. What I've been told is that it's not. It's total recall. It's you being able to take every image, every smell, every vision that you've ever had is somewhere in your brain. And when you fall into that deep subconscious, you're pulling all these things that you don't even remember. I don't know what color his eyes are, but I know that my mind does because
Yeah.
I've looked at them and I've seen them. They're brown.
So
Okay.
is the computer of your brain not just scraping the environment and all of its past experience? Do you ever have an original thought necessarily? I don't know.
Well, let me ask you.
It's a lot to wrestle with, guys. I know.
If AI became to the point where they had a body, and they said, I have a soul, But like, let's say they couldn't feel emotion or anything like that. Would you say they're still a person?
I don't know. I feel like it would have some type of emotion.
It would
at that
know
point.
It would
when to
have
be
the
sad.
I was gonna say it would have the knowledge of what emotions are, but I don't think it could ever truly feel what we've. I mean, us being Christians, when we do something wrong, maybe we don't feel like it was wrong, but the conviction gets to us.
Yeah, I think at the point it's at now, I agree it's probably there, but I don't know where it will go.
Yeah.
I guess that's my question is,
Well,
and I guess we'll get there when we get there, but it's an interesting,
It is an interesting one.
philosophical thing to think about and talk about.
Well, it is an interesting one, and I also know people are using AI for therapists.
That is the,
Yeah. Oh
if
my
you
gosh.
ask ChatGPT, that is the number one thing that it's used for, which is very interesting.
That's
that one's actually
crazy.
kind of
That's
a little
messed up.
wild to me
It is wild.
because
It gives damn good advice. I had a buddy who's
Does
having
it?
some marital issues, and he sent me what it told him, how to communicate, all of these things. And I was like, that's really good advice. I mean, anyone would look at that and say, that's probably exactly
That's
what you should do.
gnarly.
Yeah, but I almost
Yeah.
feel like therapy is not even all about advice. It's just about kind of airing out what you're talking about.
Sure,
and
but
what
who
you're-
better to air it out to than something that has no bearing?
There's a connection you get with people. It's kind of
Yeah.
like imagine a kid who didn't have a dad growing up, right? And then they meet like a soccer coach who's a man, and they teach them well. They usually say, well, he's like a father figure to me.
Yeah.
When you go to therapy, I always assume I went to therapy when I was younger. I haven't gone in recent times, so maybe it's changed. But I was always like, wow, this is someone I can talk to about my problems. They can talk to me. I'm having a human connection.
Yeah, I can only assume that the younger generations, as they come up in this digital world, could look at something like that and feel that exact way.
I will clarify it for me for this way. There's a lot of people out there have a lot of money. They end up, committing suicide. They end up, also they feel very lost. My personal opinion is that AI will make the world seem better for so many people. And I think people that go to an AI therapist and everything else and do all that stuff, I think they will find temporary relief just like we do with sex and drugs and money and everything else. I don't think people will find true joy and peace in their life without connecting with God. Now, I'm going to give a caveat to that. I think direct connection and understanding Jesus and everything else is going to be one of those things that brings you joy. But I think there's people that don't know Jesus directly, but they find themselves out in the forest. They find themselves out in nature. They find themselves out in something that God created alone, and they find that peace and joy, right?
Yeah.
I don't think people will find that peace and joy without God and his creation. And I think people that utilize that and think that is the way, I think they will continually degrade and fall apart and never find what they're really looking for in life.
I feel the same way. I'm not saying this is the way.
No,
I'm
yeah.
just trying to create a conversation because I think it's interesting to think about these things.
Oh, for
and it's
sure.
important to think about them before we get there. But I agree with you. Like that connection, when I'm out in nature, I don't know how to like express it, right? It's our being.
It's
like we
amazing.
come from this.
Well, and I was going to say also kind of we were talking about earlier, quick win with money, right? You get money right away, kind of you lose that touch. When you have a therapist at your fingertips, essentially, where you don't have to do anything to work towards that, you could just ask ChatGPT this and that. It almost takes out that responsibility. Like when you're going through life problems and you have a really terrible time, you have to have that own personal responsibility. I'm going to call a therapist. I'm going to find one I like, and then I'm going to actually show up. And we can be quick to say with AI, like, oh, I go to therapy. When in reality, you just say, oh, I have this problem. How do I fix it? It's a personal responsibility, and you feel better. I would argue that you feel better actually going through that experience of finding a therapist and all of that, rather than just asking ChatGPT, hey, how do I fix this?
Right. Yeah, and there's something of finding a person that you connect with. I've been there and I've been to a couple, and then one sticks, and you're like, yeah, there's a bond there, a safety. You feel like you can confide in this person. You feel like they have the credentials to give you advice. Whereas, like personally, right now, if I ask ChatGPT, I'm like, I might get a good answer, but I would be hesitant.
Bro, I went to a marriage therapist, with my wife, and she'd never been married and everything else. I'm like, you literally read this out of a book. She's asked
You
me
don't have
questions, and I'm like,
credentials,
look, no, we're not going to go there. I'm like, this is just, can we get to something different? And I'm looking at her going, you don't even know, you have no idea what it's like to be married,
Yeah.
for good or bad.
Yeah.
And so that's how I would take my approach with AI. I'd be like, you don't know what it's
You
like.
went to a marriage therapist and the person wasn't even married.
Yes, dude.
What?
Yes.
That's like we're out.
But she had the credentials, right?
That's
and she was a
ridiculous.
Christian-based therapist. You can learn all you want, but that experience of being married, I'm like, do you know what my wife feels when I fart in the bed? You have no idea, right? You have no idea because you haven't been there with your husband next to you farting in the bed when you've had a bad day. Like there's an experience there that you cannot learn. So, or you cannot read about, right? You have to experience it. So
Also wisdom, kind of with
Oh,
what
yeah.
you're saying. You know, everybody can have knowledge. We can all read everything
Yeah.
we want, and we can be quick and articulate. But something that we all don't have at, you know, I mean, we're young, so we might not have a lot of wisdom. And that's why we talk to older people about, you know, history and stuff, because they can give us wisdom.
Yeah.
You know, we could ask ChatGPT, like, what's the meaning of the Constitution? And it could tell us something like, you know, a set of rules, a foundation for a good government. But then if we ask an older person and say, what's the Constitution to you? They'll give us a different answer. And 9 times out of 10, it would be an answer that comes with wisdom, you know?
Right. My life experience. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you don't get that from AI at the moment.
Yeah, so I like what you
At the
were
moment.
saying with that, because I mean it is a lot of wisdom too. I mean, if I went to a marriage counselor and she's never been married, I'm like, are you,
I'm not gonna let you guys coach me on buying a house.
yeah.
Be like, what?
Of course not.
Well,
Well,
that's
no,
probably
come
a
on.
little different, but-
We watched a couple Grant Cardone videos.
Yeah,
No, I'm kidding,
yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, we watched a lot of YouTube videos about it. We
Yeah,
may
no.
know more than you.
I saw a TikTok one time.
We're getting up there, boys.
What time? You got a hard stop?
I gotta head out
How long
here
have we
real
been doing
soon
it
here.
for?
So we're at an hour and 12
Hour and
minutes.
12. Yeah, it goes by fast.
You guys have a website and everything?
Yeah, we have a website, so it's footstepsofthefallen.org. And then if anybody needs to email us, it's freedom@footstepsofthefallen.org. So we have a website.
Oh, sorry, I was going to ask social media.
Oh, yeah. All of our social medias are just Footsteps of the Fallen. We're on from Instagram all the way to Truth Social even.
Okay, perfect.
know?
So if you're out there listening, these guys are doing great things. They're obviously articulate and intelligent young men. We need more of those, and hardworking, I would add. Go out there and give them a follow and engage in their stuff, help them push out their message. I think that would be a great thing
Yeah,
to do.
And real quick, just while we're on that topic, I'm going to shamelessly plug my personal YouTube as well.
Do it.
Get it.
Send it.
Victor for America on YouTube. I've got a couple of videos up already. One about this 50-year mortgage. Another one that is being published today. This podcast is not going to come out today, right?
No, a couple
So
weeks.
by the time this is out, this will be there. It's talking about the Epstein emails that recently got released.
Oh, cool.
And I've got 3 other videos that are in the works there as well. So by the time you guys are watching this, you'll be able to check those out if you're interested.
Cool.
Yeah,
Love
and
it.
then, and then one more thing I wanted to add, you know, we talked about the education side. Another side to the organization that we're really trying to work on is helping our community. We want to try to find 5 projects within Coeur d'Alene, Hayden, Post Falls. And when I say projects, I mean people who need help, like real help. You know, somebody who has cancer or a church that needs money. And we want to go around and try to collect donations for all 5 of those. And then people can vote on which one they want to give their money to. And whichever one wins gets the full pool of funds. So the community gets
That's
a vote
rad.
in what they want to do.
it.
And then the 4 that don't win, though, we move them to the next month because we want everybody to win. And vision board, real quick, we want to have that in every city. I think if
Yeah.
we stop relying on our political leaders and start having leaders in our community, we will be a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
You know, and so that's kind of the other side of the organization that I wanted to touch, just to give kind of that peace of mind to people that, you know, we're not just here for the education. We really want to make an impact.
Well, we appreciate you guys and we support you and we ask you to just keep pushing because there's always going to be people that know it better or think you shouldn't do it. Don't let the stuff put you down. Just keep pushing on it.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. We should do this again sometime.
Sure.
This
Yes.
is-
Anytime.
we didn't even get to touch the other topic. We have a lot of topics we can talk about next time. This
All
is
right.
fun.
Yeah, good,
Awesome.
good stuff. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Love it, boys.
Thank you
All right.
guys. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Catch